Hello everyone, and welcome back to another video. In this video we are going to be taking a look at another Paul Morphy game, and this time he is playing with the white pieces against Charles de Maurin. This is the first game which they would play in 1866, and they would play eventually 3 matches from 1866 to 1869. If you like this video, slap that like button, and if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button and click the notifications bell if you want more videos on this channel like this. Okay, but without further ado, let's get into it. So Paul Morphy is with the white pieces and he opens with e4. So now everyone knows that Morphy is a really good player, and in this game he showed just how good he was against Charles Maurin, who, to be fair, isn't actually that bad of a player. He was a top level player, but Morphy, we'll see what happens. So after e4 we have e5 and now f4, and Morphy would play this a lot, the king's gambit, and okay, let's see what happens. Charles de Maurin accepts it. E takes f4, we have knight to f3 and now g5. So if d4 is pushed, if d4 is pushed, this bishop will not be targeting this pawn. Okay, after g5 we have bishop to c4, and then we have g4 immediately targeting white's knight. And now if you're looking at this position, you're like, okay, so white has developed pieces and can easily castle, and it looks like black has overextended on the king side. But black is actually attacking more here, and alright, we'll see what happens. So after this g4, Morphy just disregards it. He plays d4, putting another pawn in the center. Okay, so it's a free piece. Okay, free piece. So we have g takes f3, queen takes f3, and now knight to c6. And well, this is a hanging pawn, and it's not very easy to defend it. You actually cannot defend it. And should Morphy grab it is the question. In the game, Morphy doesn't grab it. He first plays bishop takes f7 check. Like a wonderful move this is, because it practically forces the king to take. If you move forward, you'll just hang a pawn and a knight. So you've got to take. Okay, so in the game, we have king takes f7, and now instead of taking this pawn, we have queen to h5 check, and bang, this is it. Paul Morphy is crushing his opponent. If he can get this knight out, gobble this pawn up and castle, this rook would have an open file, and Maurin isn't in a good position at all. His king is out, none of his pieces except his knight have moved, and it's very hard for him to see what he can do. Okay, so after queen to h5 we have king to e7, and now we have bishop takes f4, maybe wanting to put the bishop on g5 and pick up the queen. Obviously Maurin doesn't allow this. We have knight to f6 attacking the queen, and now, as we talked about, bishop to g5. And you're thinking, hey, didn't Charles Morphy just hang a queen? But no, the knight is pinned, for you viewers. So we have the knight that is pinned. Okay, so after bishop to g5 we have bishop g7, adding another defender to this knight, and we have e5, and this knight is practically lost now, and the pawn will just gobble it up, as they say. And now what would you do here? Your king is out in the open, This rook will never get into the game. This bishop has hardly got into the game, and it is not very easy to find a good move. And Paul Morphy is just going to get this knight out, castle, bring this rook out, and the black king will be slaughtered in the middle of the board. So after e5, we have queen to e8, wanting a queen trade. Obviously, Paul Morphy doesn't allow this. We have queen to h4, and now queen to g6, putting some pressure on this bishop. And Morphy just castles. And this is also a very good move because it just adds another attacker to this knight. Another attacker that is gonna be falling. This knight is hit from 1, 2, 3, 4 different directions, and it's just lost, and it's also pinned. So okay, so after castles, which is a very good move, we have d5, and again, many young players would just play en passant here, because they're like, oh, it's en passant, but maybe not. Maybe that's not the right move. And well, you can, and it's an okay move, but it's not the best. Okay, so after d5, we have, well, e takes f6, grabbing the free piece. You have king to f7. Again, you don't want to take with the bishop, because then you have bishop takes and you win a rook. So we have king to f7, and now you win back a piece. F takes g7. We have king takes g7, and now you see this battery and this locking down on this f6 square. Well, that's exactly why Morphy did this, because this f6 square is vulnerable, and well, it doesn't take a genius to find out what Morphy's next move is. So pause the video and try find out what the next move was for Morphy. Well guys, if you found it at home, it actually was wrong. Morphy actually didn't play bishop to f6, as many, which is the best move in this situation. I think this was a slip up maybe, but what Morphy played was rook to f6, and I would say bishop to f6 is the way to go here. But if you go bishop to f6, and when you move the king, you do not like this move, because then the queen will just be gunning down the king. So we have rook to f6, and completely disregarding the fact that the queen is hanging, we have bishop to f5, saying, alright, this is just a free piece, and that's what happens. So we have rook captures queen, and now do you capture with the bishop, the rook, or the king? No, the pawn or the king. Well, it looks like capturing with the pawn is the correct move, because you open up this discovered attack on the queen and try play for counterbalance. But in the game, we have h takes g6, which was actually correct. And I'll give you a couple of seconds to find the correct move, and the move Morphy played. Okay, well done if you got it at home. The move was again another nasty pin, that the king is pinned to the rook, and it was bishop to f6 check. And mate will be inevitable very shortly, because once you move the king, let's say here, you're just going to pick up a rook and your material count is too big. But okay, after this bishop to f6 move, Charles de Maurin resigned the game, as it is just lost here, because you're up a whole queen, you're going to lose this rook, and you're going to develop the knight and bring the other rook into the game, and it is just over. So, a very good game by Morphy, and yeah, as I said before, if you like this video, slap that like button. I'll try to do more videos, but it'll happen slowly but surely, but hopefully we'll get there. Okay? So again, if you like this video, slap the like button and hit the subscribe